There are fires ravaging the Amazon. However, a story that most people don't know about, there are fires all over the place, all over the world. In fact, I want to show you a map that helps to visualize the fires that have been detected worldwide. So the orange areas is where you can see the fires happening throughout the year. And this is certainly tied to climate change. A lot of this has to do with higher temperatures in areas that you would not expect high temperatures in, including the Arctic. So we'll get to that in just a second. But according to reporting from the New York Times, and honestly, this is an example of excellent reporting from the Times. It's drawing attention to something that isn't talked about enough. Wildfires contribute to climate change because not only do they release carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere, but they can also kill trees and vegetation that remove climate warming emissions from the air. So the fires cause the release of more greenhouse gases. They also help to accelerate climate change because they damage vegetation that helps to keep our climate under control. The Arctic is also warming twice as fast as the rest of the planet. Since July, fire has charred about 6 million acres of Siberian forest, an area roughly the size of the state of Vermont. In Alaska, fires have consumed more than 2.5 million acres of tundra and snow forest. There's more, but Cenk, would you like to jump in?
Yeah, there's a quadruple whammy here. The two that Anna mentioned, it emits more carbon, and then the vegetation can't absorb the carbon like it used to. But there's also the peat normally is not as affected by the fires, but because it's now we have to use an uncomfortable word, it's more moist. But now because the planet is drier, the peat.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no.
Is also burning, which actually emits more carbon than the trees. That's a third disaster. The fourth disaster is in areas in the Arctic where they're not used to these type of fires, the ashes are landing on the ice and they're black, they're attracting heat, melting the ice and releasing more methane. So it's a quadruple whammy, these fires. And guys, I wanna be clear about the context. There are some areas of the world where fires happen frequently, including the Western United States and Sub-Saharan Africa. Now, there's what's happening with climate change is two things. One is those fires are getting worse, and then you're getting fires in places that don't normally get them. So, for example, in California, the amount of fires is 500% of what it used to be. So it's not like fires didn't exist before, but they're now 5x of what they used to be. That is massive, massive, okay? Now, the second part is Siberia is burning. Siberia is burning. The fire in Siberia is as large as the state of Vermont. Imagine a fire the size of the state of Vermont. That's what's happening, not only somewhere on the planet, in Siberia. In Alaska, the snow forest is on fire. I'm gonna repeat that. The snow forest is on fire. The whole planet's on fire.
Yeah, so
like for as much as the left is so animated by this issue, it's still not enough. And the mainstream media, for as much as they say most scientists blah 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 blah, but we have to force and push and plead with them to cover it, right? And then you've got the Republicans who are like, nope, I don't see the fires.
Yeah,
I don't see them.
So I want to talk a little bit about strategy. I have so many more details about what's happening around the world. I want to get to that as well, but let's do a quick intermission to discuss strategy because that is important. So this is a crisis. Climate change is a crisis. We know how severe this crisis is, and we know how difficult it is to get real action accomplished in fighting it, to mitigate it. I think one of the biggest flaws on the left is our inability to put our small differences aside and unite for the greater good. Unite in order to have a broad coalition to fight and get something done on climate change. I think we're far too concerned with the little battles here. Maybe we're not using the exact perfect language. Maybe we're not supporting the exact perfect candidate for one group's liking, whatever it is. Look, climate change, they're the White Walkers, right? It's the White Walkers. They're coming.
That's a
right?
great analogy.
It's coming. So like the Lannisters and the Targaryens and the Starks need to like put their differences aside. They can feud later. They can fight later. But the time is now to come together and fight. Look, when it comes to Republicans, when it comes to the right wing and getting something done on their end, when they want something, they unite. They put all of their differences aside. The evangelicals will support Trump knowing that he doesn't represent any of the values that they like, but he does represent one thing, which is deregulation, tax cuts, and the brutalization of people who they deem deem bad for their religion, the gay community and all that. They will turn a blind eye to the negative parts of Trump to get what they want. When it comes to the left, though, it's like, but is that group using the exact right language that we like? Who cares? Who cares? We need to do something about climate change right now.
Yeah, well, look, so I'll add to the strategy. To build off your analogy, summer is coming, and since that doesn't sound as scary, fire is coming, and it's here.
Yeah.
And so who's helping the White Walkers in Anna's analogy? The Republicans are. So I need people on the left to understand, and people in the middle, and everyone else to understand that the Republicans are not your allies, and they're never going to be your allies. If you think you're going to convince them, I'm sorry, but you don't know anything about politics, anything at all. The only thing you can do with the Republicans is to defeat them. You don't understand, they get money from the fossil fuel industry. They are corrupt. You're not going to convince them unless you have a bigger check. The only thing they care about is checks. So this whole idea, and the mainstream media hurts us the most here, of like, well, who's winning the debate? There's no goddamn debate. 3/4 of the country already believes that climate change is real and it's man-made. We've already won the debate. That's not the issue. The issue is corruption. So if you want to save the planet, and people think, this is partisan. You're stupid if you don't understand the actual dynamics. No, you must fire every national Republican. If you don't fire the Republicans, the world's gonna burn. And that seems hyperbolic. No, it's not. All of the Republicans at the national level vote against taking any action on climate change. They all vote against it. Why? Because they're all corrupt. It's not like they're like, well, I happen to agree with the 1% of scientists who don't think climate change is real, except that guy, he died in a fire. But still, I believe in the 1%, I don't believe in 90, even though all the scientists, the 99% of scientists have been proven right year after year after year after year. You think the Republicans looked at that and was like, no, I've come to a different scientific conclusion. No, they came to a different financial conclusion.
Right, so I also wanna extend that thought to Democrats. And while that corruption isn't as severe on the Democratic side, let's just keep in mind there are members in Congress who have done nothing to help fight this crisis. And whenever they do something, it's the bare minimum, because many of them also take donations from the fossil fuel industry. And so that persuades their decision making more than anything.
And we have to stop being polite. Here, name names. Democrats sell out and take fossil fuel industry money all the time, okay? Here's a name, John Hickenlooper. He takes a tremendous amount of money from fossil fuel industry. His former chief of staff is now a top lobbyist for the fossil fuel industry. And you know what the Senate Democrats did, Chuck Schumer did? They said, we are now endorsing him. We don't care about the 11 other people in the primary in Colorado. We're going to crush them on behalf of the fossil fuel industry. Guess why? Turns out the fossil fuel industry has given a lot to Senate Democrats. So, hey, they're helping our reelection, are they? So they give more money to the Republicans, but idiots like Chuck Schumer go, well, I got little crumbs off the table of the fossil fuel industry. It's Hickenlooper, everybody else stand down. Goddamn, no way we're gonna stand down. Andrew Romanoff is an excellent candidate there, you should look into him. And so look, we're looking to do a town hall that no one will have seen anything like this, because mainstream media, they play patty cakes. The main question they're gonna ask is not how you're gonna solve the problem, how are you gonna pay for it, right? You're gonna have 7 hours of how you're gonna pay for it.
Right.
So tyt.com/townhall. I don't know which Democrats will have the courage to show up, but those are the ones you should trust. If they run from real questions from real moderators, and I'm not talking about Young Turks hosts, we're gonna get experts in the field, okay? That is what our effort is about. If they come to this and they give the answers, those are the ones you can trust. The ones who run, well, you'll have your answer.
I just want to leave you with one final bit of data that's relevant to this discussion, and it has to do with Alaska, since you mentioned Alaska earlier. So this summer, parts of Alaska broke records. Anchorage reached a high of 90 degrees on July 4th, when the average temperatures for that date are 75 degrees.
In Alaska, fires have consumed more than 2.5 million acres of tundra and snow forests, leading researchers to suggest that the combination of climate change and wildfires could permanently alter the region's forests. The planet is on fire. We do not have a second planet. We must act right now. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.